Hello and welcome to the Racetech V8 Supercar Series live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me for this evening's racing is Marco Barbonet, and we're here at the Nurburgring. It's the proper one. It's the Nordschleife and the Grand Prix circuit combined for this round 3 of the championship. Marco, quick word on how the championship's gone so far. I mean, it has been an eventful start to the championship. We saw an incredible round at Suzuka last time out 2 weeks ago. I mean, that was one of the most incredible rounds we've ever seen in this championship. It's really mixed up the championship order, and this place isn't going to be necessarily the most comfortable round to get back into the rhythm.
No, you're absolutely right. Hello everyone, hello Sam. I'm glad to be here for part 1 of our double header Saturday that we have every 2 weeks, because at the end of this broadcast you have a little bit of time to rest, maybe get something to eat, and then switch to the iRacing Esports Network at 22 GMT for the Formula 3.5 live from my home track of Imola. It's going to be a double-edged sword this round, Sam, I think, because for some of the top drivers who have been in trouble, I'm looking at this guy right here, a clean getaway will probably mean some good free track and the possibility to fight for good positions and finally put a good result in the pocket. But at the same time, it's an unforgiving track. It's a track that will cause you many problems, especially at the beginning of the race, because we are using the VLN layout, and during real life VLN weekends the Mercedes Arena is used as basically extra paddock. Therefore it will be that really tight and narrow chicane, which maybe Rich Wormingham will show us as we go into turn 1. So the cars will brake, they will turn right, and then no, they changed it. Okay. Let's pretend. Oh no, right, VLN. Okay, it's not a 24-hour layout. Yes, it's a VLN layout. There are less cars in VLN. Forget I said anything. You were right. It's the full layout. Okay, I already made a mistake. 30 seconds into the broadcast is going to be a long one.
Absolutely. 165 turns around this place. I mean, I've been around this circuit. I don't count 165. I count about 110, I think. A lot of them are questionable corners, a bit like Road America. Turn 5, turn 3, which one is it? Yeah, apparently 165 turns, 24.43 kilometers. And of course, we've got an endurance event today. So 1 hour and 30. It's our first endurance event of the season. And yeah, it really does suit some drivers, doesn't suit other drivers. It's really all or nothing though today. You can go big or you're going to go home. Some championships could be revived. Some championships could be put to sleep, I imagine, today. We've got this qualifying lap to complete. So we've got a while. We've been in good podcasts before where we've had to go on for about 12 minutes after the clock has timed down. Apparently, we've got 11 minutes for the drivers to finish their lap times. It should advance anyway at some point. Here is Jamie Wilson. We've spoken in the past, Marco, about Team Chimera, of course, very competitive team in other championships we've seen. Unfortunately, they weren't present at Suzuka, which was a big shame because with the chaos that we saw, they could have been in for some big points. Unfortunately, Jamie Wilson and I believe a couple of his teammates are around today. Josh Chin as well here today.
Yes, of course, they had very bad luck in the first round of the season, and they didn't show up at Suzuka because I think it was the same day as the Battles 12 hours on iRacing, so I was expecting them to be back here. Did we say that it's going to be an enduro round, this one? If we didn't,
Yes.
Yes, Sam said, of course.
Yep.
Man, I am
First
rusty.
enduro of the season.
I am very rusty today, so hopefully things will get better as soon as the race proper starts. So it's going to be interesting to see them use their full power and maybe go for a good result, because they are a good team. Wilson and Chin are two fantastic drivers. Getting used to this car. Here comes Jamie Wilson. He will start temporarily from P8. Let's see if Tyler Newitt can improve on his 12th position, as he is at the little carousel, if my mind serves me right. You see 14th kilometer mark of the lap. Another driver who is currently lapping decently fast is Nicole Foggy. You can see him here, and also his teammate Richard Wormingham. The XVR guy is leaving it late. It's all done for Wilson. Foggy made a mistake, I think. Therefore, Andrew Hoffman also has got no time. I think he's on his out lap. Let's see if we can get a replay and see if that is an invalidating. Oh yeah, basically. Oh, okay, he parked for his teammate. Perfect.
He
So,
set some purple sector times, I think, earlier on that lap. I think 4 of his first 5 sectors were purple. By the way, there are 12 sectors around this circuit, all about half a minute, towards a minute. Sector 3 is a minute, according to us. So one of the longest ones out here. And yeah, Foggy was absolutely nailing it. Good lap time at the moment for George McClay. He set 1 purple sector and 4 personal bests. Also, Richard Wormingham just doing the best 6th sector of anyone. Don't ask me where that is. I think that's where George McClay has just been, in fact, because he's just put in another personal best sector time. He needs to improve by 6 seconds to get to Nicole Foggy, who currently has a vast lead. We've got McClay, Wormingham, Newitt, and Hoffman still going. But I think, as you were saying, Marco, Hoffman perhaps on and out lap. He doesn't seem to be moving at the moment on circuits.
apologies.
So
Yeah, a wild click on the timing tower and the beautiful views of the start-finish line. Back on board with McClay, you were saying, yeah, absolutely. And now you can see the gaps on the left side of your screen. And of course, so easy to make a mistake around here, so easy to get on off track. The drivers have been given, of course, extra time by the organizers, longer qualifying session than usual. Also because this is a group qualifying and not single car qualifying. You start from the pits basically, so it's not an option to to basically start towards the end of the lap as they do, for example, in single car qualifying here and at Le Mans on iRacing. Therefore, if you make a mistake on the out lap, you crash. You have to tow back and start from scratch, which I can imagine. I cannot imagine myself putting in a valid lap time if I was to race today.
it is tricky. George McClay giving us an indication of how difficult this circuit is. Of course, the big championship leader at the moment. He leads the championship with, yeah, like I said, a handy advantage as we speak. Yeah, 825 points. Chris Jackson with 763. Jake Blackhall with 701. Then Nicole Foggy with 701. So Foggy, who's been very impressive. Remember, won both rounds at the media day as well. Arguably has been the fastest driver so far this season, but sits down in 4th place in the championship, or joint 3rd. Lavelli and Mella. Currently, Klusman down in 9th place in the championship, despite getting a podium in race 2 at Suzuka, his best result of the season thus far. But awful start to the season for Johnny Branton, who sits in 19th place in the championship. 2nd place at the moment on the grid, unless we can see a couple of improvements. I mean, it's been we've already spoken about Johnny Branton's poor start to the season, but Tony Klosterman, how would you assess his season so far, Marco? Would you say he's as fast in this car as he was in the last car? Why is it not quite working out for him at the moment?
Yeah, a bit of a mystery start of the season for Tony. I think that he still has to get full potential out of the car. Of course, he is one of the longest tenured driver in the series. Therefore, I think one that has to make probably the bigger adjustment. Can you compare it basically? I think to the way that Sebastian Vettel had to really work to get used to the engine change in 2014, no? Whilst his teammate Daniel Ricciardo was relatively newer to F1. I think he only did a couple of seasons with the old package, was much quicker straight away. And of course, I think bringing home 3 victories in his rookie season for with with Red Bull, no, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's a matter of that. Of course, now you will correct me because you are the true historian of the recent F1.
No, it was yeah, Montreal, Hungaroring, and Spa. He won that season, so well done, Marco. Warmingham crosses the line. Oh, that's a good lap. Puts it up into third position. So it's a 1-2-3 for XVR. Foggy, Brandon, Warmingham. That is some gauntlet that they've put down. Can McClay improve? I think McClay did improve, but it wasn't by a side. No, it wasn't by a big enough margin. So remains in fourth. In fact, moves up to fourth place, gets ahead of Klosterman, I believe. So Klosterman dropping a couple of places late on, and it was pretty close between everyone from Brandon down to Klosterman. All very close between those guys. Andrew Hoffman still trying to improve, or maybe just getting some final testing laps in. If Andrew doesn't mind, he could just take back to the pits. We've got 4 more minutes of this
So
session.
I will
Would
tell you
appreciate it.
a story.
We could disqualify him, you know? No, I can't disqualify him, sorry.
I can tell you a story. We were doing a race
Oh,
in
here
the
we go.
Nordschleife with Grand Prix legends. Amongst it was a league race 20 years ago now, and basically I started the final lap just as Andrew makes a mistake, just in front of the leader, and so I was lapping like 3-4 minutes slower than everyone else, and there was nothing like the in-race chat that we have today, so I didn't know that. So my friends and league organizers and rivals had to wait for me, last place, last car, to do a painfully slow lap of the Nordschleife to end the race and close the server and get the results to export. So yeah. And there was no time limit in Grand Prix. You have to wait for the guy to come around and finish the race. So I'm happy that I was right with because you know the first few years of the turbo hybrid era, the ones with the narrower wings, basically, for me are a I keep noticing that for me are a gigantic black hole, and I don't really remember much apart from who won the titles. So
Well, I mean,
it's
just remember, a Mercedes probably won the race.
yes.
So, yeah, 3 different race winners in 14, 3 different race winners in 15, and only 4 in 16. Golden age of Formula One. Anyway, we'll get away from Formula One because we're at the Nordschleife, which hasn't been on the calendar for many a decade on the F1 schedule. But of course, it was Nicky Lauda's birthday today. Of course, rest in peace. And yeah, so celebrating it by remembering his 84 Austrian Grand Prix race victory. Of course, had a pretty scary crash here and was kind of the start of his recovery. So yeah, great to remember one of the legends of Formula One. Still got 100 seconds to go in this session. We have had this before on broadcast, where it doesn't seem to advance. Everyone's towed
No,
back to the pits. There's no one on circuit. Or is Jamie McKnight on? Is there anyone on circuit? I don't think there is.
no one is on the track right now.
And yet we're not advancing at the moment. The stewards have no, but yeah, Clyde has no power. The supreme leader, of course. I
No.
have no powers today, which is very disappointing. Probably very wise, but I can't do any stewarding for these guys. So yeah, we've just got to wait for the clock to tick down. I guess we don't have to worry quite as much about the starts of the race now, Marco, but I always find around this place you've got the Nordschleife, it's single file. You're not going to be able to overtake. And so the GP circuit just feels so important. You're like, this is my one opportunity at getting past that and the Dotner Ho, of course. You can't think, if I don't get past this guy now, I'm going to spend the next literally 7 minutes stuck behind him with no opportunity. And so this very start through the GP track section, it's going to be absolutely pivotal for these guys.
Absolutely important. You are absolutely right. Making a move in the Nordschleife proper is a very difficult, b very risky. These guys have a fast repair, but of course, taking a tow around here is a long time, and it can, especially in an enduro race, massively screw up your strategy. Therefore, I think that we are going to see some fireworks, especially straight away, and then of course it's a waiting game. The drivers will have to use the Nordschleife basically to think about themselves first, survival first, and then maybe profit from someone else's mistakes. Ooh, we are advancing. Of course, the organizers have no power, like you were saying. The moment the session is finishing, you cannot advance anymore, so you have to wait and wait and wait and wait. Here we go with the grid. Rolling start as per usual for the endurance races. It has been the case for the past couple of seasons, and it's a change I really, really like.
Definitely, it's probably the wise decision as well around this circuit. So Nico Foggy on pole position, 4 seconds clear. We don't usually get to say that, but he's certainly looking to perhaps take back the championship lead, certainly get himself back into contention for this round. Johnny Branton, the defending champion, 2-time champion, of course, lines up alongside him on the front row of the grid. He was just clear of Richard Warming, who's looking very strong today. And has looked very strong this season as well. George McClade, championship leader, lines up in 4th with a late effort, just pipping Tony Kloosterman to the second row of the grid. Then it's Chris Jackson in 6th place. Steve Lavelli, who's been very good this season, starts in 7th. Then it's Jamie Wilson on his return in 8th. Lewis Bibby and Greg Carr running out the top 10. Behind that, it's Josh Chin, Tyler Newitt, Wayne Sanderson, Yazor Sebula, Jamie McKnight, watch out for him from 15th, Lane O'Connor, Dominic Sori, and Peter Bingham. The drivers who did not set a qualifying time, they may not be taking the starts, not quite sure, or they may not have just got a eligible lap in, were Victor Tanaka, Justin Rebello, Jake Blackwell, who I don't believe is racing, Ash Sutton, Anthony Woodward, Ole Christian Unberg, Matt Bunn, Nikolai Bogotayev, Sam Buzan, Jeffrey Collinson, Andrew Hoffman, and Michael Frost. 27 cars, we hope, to take the grid. I was a bit concerned that Bibby wasn't going to get onto the grid. Apologies. Yeah, Bibby wasn't going to get onto the grid. He has got onto the grid, despite having a couple of connection issues. I believe he is received throughput fell to an unacceptable level, but he then reconnected. It does take a while around this place. Kloosterman is still waiting, and I don't think Kloosterman's going to take the start. I imagine this is a tactical move, Marco, and also Sam Buzan not taking the start.
Yes, and also Justin Rebello, Dominic Soiree starting from the pits. So probably a good choice, a wise choice, who knows? Time will tell. And therefore they will enjoy for a bit to stay in the lead of the race, of course. Because they were, of course, teleported way in front of these guys. As they are now rolling down the Dottinger Ho, and you can see already it's a very short pace lap, this one. If we can even call that. It's going to be 1 hour and a half of high intensity racing, Sam. I cannot wait for the race to begin. The 2 XVR cars, Holden and Ford, leading the way. Then it's a plethora of Holdens and Fords here and there. Let's see who is going to bring home the race victory as we are approaching the final chicane and the start of the race.
Yes, the first endurance round of the championship. The third round of the championship is about to get underway. Nico Foggy on pole position. XVR 1, 2, 3. 90 minutes of racing at Nurburgring is underway. Foggy eases away from the field. They'll pass all the drivers in the pits, and Foggy with a comfortable lead going into turn 1. But Brandon, here he goes down the inside. Did not think that was going to be a possibility. Screeches on the brakes, so does Brandon. Almost accidental move he almost made on his rival. George McClay already getting past Richard Warrior, so nice work from him. Jackson up a place, Wilson up a couple, Bibby up a couple as well. But it's still side by side between the 2 XVR drivers. And Brandon might just have the upper hand round the outside into 1. On the inside into 2. It will be a worse exit though for the defending champion, and the season 6 champion, apologies, moves back ahead. Brandon's not giving in. He's still got his nose on the inside, but the pole sitter just about retains that lead. He had to work hard for it though, Marco.
Okay, this is where the track change was different, and I remember there was something different. Of course, in this version, we don't do the beautiful long hairpin. We cut the track on the right side there, and now we are heading straight away for the final chicane, which has had many different names of the many different sponsors over the years, and now getting ready to turn left for the first time and enjoy the ride through the Nordschleife, as we have a great fight here. We have a big crash.
Jackson. Jackson round and big contact. Steve Lavelli involved in that one. Josh Chin perhaps as well. Jackson got a big old whack, but you know what, his car doesn't look that bad at the moment. Oh, we've got Sanson as well, a little bit a little bit sideways. I think this apologies, that was Woodward going onto the Nordschleife part of the track. We'll have to get a replay of what happened there to Chris Jackson.
So we had a couple of issues. First was Tyler Newitt going wide at the beginning of the race. He went sideways in the Mercedes arena and regained control of his car. Justin Rebello came out of the pits and all the other pit lane starters. Let's see what happened here. Oh, there was a car already spinning there. Yeah.
If Jackson hasn't got terminal damage there, I don't know how he hasn't, because he got it was properly square onto his rear corner there. Seems to be okay. Remarkable. One fast repair course for these guys. As Sanderson is making his way up. Lavelli dropping down. I think he was the driver who initially made contact with Jackson, so he shouldn't have that much damage. Maybe a little bit of nose damage. That should be about it. Sanderson doing a very good job in 9th place, but yeah, Lavelli down 3, car down 1. Trying to make up that place though. No way through on this part of the circuit. It does open up a little bit soon after here. Lavelli running very wide, giving his rival an opportunity, and now it's who's got the guts to really commit to this next corner. I don't think Lavelli's going to have the straight line speed, and he does seem to be struggling a lot at the moment, does the XVR driver. Started up in 7th place on the grid. Very good qualifying for him, and has been one of the best drivers so far this season, but doesn't look as though he is at 100% at the moment. So it's currently Foggy leading, Grandin 2nd, McClay 3rd, Warmingham 4th, and then it's Bibby, Wilson. Tanaka is up 12 places into 7th. Chin, Sanson and Carr rounding out the top 10.
Yes, hopefully the gaps will come into the second lap, because so far, as per usual at the Nordschleife, timing is not 100% working.
I saw a bit of a glitch earlier on where it seemed like when we were going through the chicane on the GP circuit, it said like 0.7 of the circuit completed. So I don't know if that was some kind of issue, but yeah, hopefully we get it sorted. You can check out the live timing, of course, which does have. It doesn't have a whole lot of information at the moment, that's the live timing, but still have it, and then when it works later on, it will be very useful. You can find that in the description.
Yeah, according to the live timing, so far the drivers are negative 0.4 laps done, so I will assume that the moment they cross the start-finish line, as usually happens around here, it will refresh itself and we can show you the gaps and the mythical, legendary battle box that we all love and like.
Can we get an onboard of Lavelli, by any chance? Has he got steering damage? Yeah, I think he does.
That looks like steering damage. You see the wheel is pointing to the right on the straights, which is never a good thing. Does he have another car behind? Yes, he's got Jeffrey Collison, who's got a... Oh! The timing is working. Beautiful.
That was very sudden. No idea why it suddenly kicked into gear. So do check out the live timing in the description. Lavelli continues to drop down the order. Off track for Andrew Hoffman. He may have hit a wall. I think that's him in the background.
Look at that, big damage.
And he's lacking a bonnet, and I doubt that's for cooling purposes. Oh wow, he's just gone in way too deep. And I mean that looks like a bad mistake. I think that's just a lack of concentration there, Marco. That's usually my big issue around this place because certainly in practice, maybe not so much in the race, but in practice, you've got to be so concentrated on every single corner because he probably broke 10 meters too late there and slam into the wall. Absolutely no chance of recovering it.
We thank Jack TW1 for subscribing on Apex Racing TV here on YouTube. Pleasure as always, hopefully you are enjoying the show. Just lap 1 of predicted 11, and if the prediction is wrong, you can blame this guy who also started from the pits because of a pit lane penalty. Of course, because of the what happened in Suzuka, as Sebula is having a little bit of issues here and getting passed by O'Connor. Another driver with problems was Dominique Soirée, number 42 here. You can see struggling to regain a little bit of speed, but let's keep focusing on this fight. On board with the now Holden of Nikolai Bogatayrev, who has been driving the Ford for years and years and years. Also another move here as
Tanaka.
Wilson and Tanaka pass Bibi.
As Bibi hit the wall, he's very slow. Oh dear, poor Lewis Bibi. 3:13, he hasn't picked up a slowdown. It's very tricky to pick up a slowdown on the Nordschleife. You would have had to have jumped a tree. And
Car seems fine.
he seems to be getting it back underway now. He seems to be accelerating. Like I said, it couldn't have been a slowdown. Maybe a technical issue for him, but he's got up some nice speed. Here is Tanaka has got past then Jamie Wilson. So within one lap, he's got from 19th to 5th. Stellar drive from Victor Tanaka. To be fair, 3 of them I think did start from the pits, but the vast majority still done by him. Very close right now between Bogatayrev, Woodward, Sebula, Klusman, Collinson, Unberg, all of them. You feel like Klusman's probably quite a bit faster. Different speeds between these guys. They're just trying to sort themselves into the right order. Klusman thought had come across Bogatayrev on that occasion, but turned out to be all right. Apologies, Bogatayrev at the front of this. Someone locking up their brakes. Tony will be onto Sebula then. Should have him into turn 1, you'd imagine. Collinson up 9 places at the moment, just sitting behind. This is a difficult situation at the moment, Marco, because for Klusman in particular, he knows that he's going to beat these guys eventually. However, you got to be, but you got to get past them soon. Otherwise, he's going to lose contact with the guys ahead. But at the same time, of course, a little bit too aggressive, and that's your race over. And of course, it's a long tow around this place.
Chris Jackson. Had another hit somewhere. And stowed back to the pits, so somewhere along the track Chris Jackson crashed again, because that was not, you see the big damage on the front left, that's not where he was hit at the beginning of the lap. Also Steve Lavelli made his way around to pit and uses fast repair, and I think he is already out of the pits, yes. So now he's sitting in 22nd position. The leader of the club championship race is Greg Carr. You can recognize these cars by the white stripes on their sunscreen, and of course sunstape. Sunscreen is another thing. And next to their position there on the left side of the screen, as Hoffman goes into the pits as well. Second place is Peter Bingham in this absolutely astonishing livery, the Vulcan Esports RHD car, and third place is Steve Lavelli, just in front of Michael Frost. As we move back to this fantastic fight here, because we have Collinson, Sebula, and other drivers like Woodward, another fantastic livery. I'm talking about liveries, of course, after seeing your screenshot yesterday of your experiments with the overlay software. I had a sense of deja vu with my old 2015 PC on iRacing. The graphics were more or less the same. No offense meant, of course.
You could give me, you don't give me a break, do you, Marco? About it's always don't have a nice computer, do you? I do.
No, I miss your good computer. But it's a long way
away, all right?
That's the problem. I miss your good computer, which is
I did
Shame.
commentate the last round of this with my good computer, and it was remarkable to actually see the standings that all you viewers see. However, I have to I have to turn that off.
I was so happy that I wanted to cry when you told me that you had the graphics on, and then all of a sudden it's back to the dark ages, and you know, I feel deprived of an important part of me.
I've got objects on. I've got everything else as low as it can be, 15 FPS. But I've got objects on low detail, and that's as much luxury as I'm going to spare myself. At least there's not too many cars. At least I can see all the cars in the live timing. That is the benefits, I guess. Jamie Wilson, who is actually catching back up to Victor Tanaka,
Joshua Chin is
who seems to...
disappearing.
Aha, yeah, dropping down the order.
Let's go back to his teammate. Tanaka made a mistake in the previous lap, or maybe it was this lap. I think it was this lap.
Well, he only just overtook Wilson on the last lap. They're not slow. It's just because they are still catching up to Warmingham. By the way, Nicole Foggy with a 5.5 second lead over Johnny Brandon. George McClay in third position. The last time we raced here in this championship was before me and Marco were involved in the championship. Marco wasn't part of Apex Racing TV. I was, but not for very long. I wasn't involved in this series. It was the season finale of Season 3. Not sure who won that race. It could have well been Brandon. Has a win to defend, perhaps. Certainly Foggy wasn't involved in the championship. The vast majority of these guys weren't involved yet.
We have a very big Collinson fan club, so let's give them the onboard of their favorite driver, sitting now in P15, fighting with Jaroslav Sebula, and behind him, defending from Ant Woodward for Never Quit Racing.
Josh Chin with received throughput fell to an unacceptable level, so it does seem like he had a connection issue, which has ruled him out of the race. That's another non-score for Josh Chin. One drop score across the season for these guys. So Chin already losing big points in the championship. However, not really aiming for too much in the championship, I imagine, as a rookie. We always see in this championship, it takes 2 or 3 seasons to really get close to your potential. Very rarely does a driver jump into the championship and win straight away. It takes a lot of effort. Collinson almost falling out of the carousel there, but just about keeps it within. Oh, it's Wayne Sanderson from 9th position, 8th position even.
So we have Nikolai Bogatyrev experimenting with his flux capacitator there, disappearing and reappearing, but let's see what happened to Wayne Sanderson. There he is, jumping on the curve. And that's going to be massive damage to his steering, I would imagine.
You won't have to do an extra pit stop at least. What was the strategy? Was it 3, 3, and 2? Surely that wouldn't be enough laps there, would it?
Oh, who was that? Oh, Collinson is off. His fan club is not going to like this. Oh, there was a car there. That's Sebula. And he got a little bit scared, as is normal to do, I think, in these cases. You see a car moving left and right there, and he hit the wall. Now, it was not the hardest of hits, but still a hit nonetheless. So, as we show the guy who gave us the strategy informations, I will go back and read it. So
I've just read it. 2 4-lap stints and 1 3-lap stint.
Okay,
so again, you kind of need to get to lap 3 in order to only do 2 pit stops. So I think if anyone has to fix repairs on this lap, then they will have to do 3 stops rather than 2.
Again, if the strategy is wrong, we are showing Tony, because if the strategy is wrong, it's his fault. Sebula with another issue.
Must have damage. It seemed like he hit the wall pretty hard beforehand. He's skimming round. Of course, new tyre model for these cars And so that grass is so slippery, and once you get onto it, this track even more treacherous than it was before. Lane O'Connor, he's under big pressure here. He almost, I wouldn't say wave on by Tony Policeman. He was very gentlemanly there, leaving him plenty of the track, widest part of the circuit. This, for a longest straight we visit all season long, getting up to 285 kilometers an hour. And as they go down the hill, they can get a few more Ks on top of that as well. 290 for Policeman by the end there. It's about 170 miles an hour, 175. Unberg also moving ahead of Woodward.
As now we have half of the field 1 lap down according to iRacing, which is of course not true. As soon as the drivers come back on track, Bogatyrov is really struggling with this connection. I don't know if you can check his ping, his connection, but that flux capacitator is not working very well. He's jumping left and right, and Anthony Woodward goes past Ole Christian Uneberg into the first corner. But the closest fight at the front of the field is this now. Do you think that Wilson... Oh, okay. The question is rendered moot by this mistake from Tanaka. They go side by side into the chicane. And this could be a crucial move for Wilson to get in front of Tanaka before they enter the Nordschleife, and therefore having track position into the long, almost no overtaking section. Of course, with Victor Tanaka there is not such thing as a no overtaking section anywhere in the world, but of course it's difficult even for him, I would imagine.
Oh, I thought he almost dipped a wheel onto the grass around that part of the circuit, but it's all four wheels on the track. In the end, Klosterman gets him past Sanderson. Just about. Wasn't the most convincing move I've ever witnessed, but he's up into the top 10 now. Javi started from the pit lane. Here it was. Sanderson giving him a wide berth there. And Klinsmann, crucially, as you were saying before, Mark, again ahead before the Nordschleife part of the circuit. However, Klinsmann is, he's 42 seconds off the lead. To be fair, everyone's far off the lead. Even Johnny Brandon, second place man, 8 seconds off the lead at the moment. These guys are 18 seconds off the lead. Foggy in an absolute class of his own. From Brandon 2 weeks ago, how strong Foggy is around this place, along with Bathurst as well. Didn't have a great World GT round actually at Bathurst, did Foggy the other day. I think he were involved in some kind of issues, but he's certainly got a happy return to this place. Bogatyrov, by the way, with a ping of 1,758.
What about Ole Christian Uneberg? Because he's disappeared as well.
175 previously. Is this a American server? I'm not sure if I can tell.
It usually is, because we have drivers from all around the world.
Yeah. Of course, from Scandinavia is Unberg.
And he hasn't reappeared since. He keeps on dropping. Bogatyrov finally looks to be back into decent range of connection status. Which is great because I love that livery.
Down to 133, so yeah, seemingly alright for Bogatyrov. He doesn't usually have such issues. Is a long way away, I guess, from the server, depending on where he's located in Russia.
And look, speaking of ping, here comes Joshua Chin.
Oh, Unberg has disconnected. He's got issues with that. Don't know if there's something to do with the server, but we've had far more issues with this than we usually get.
So, according to this, Joshua Chin is still on the lead lap. And here we go once again with Tanaka and Wilson. I told you there is no passing zone for Tanaka, and he's going for it deep into the forest. And he goes for the move and mix it. Fantastic stuff from Tanaka. Of course, quite a long lap here, so it could be imaginable that Chin is still on the lead lap.
Yeah, of course, lead lap round here means less than it normally does. He is 4 minutes off the lead. Not sure where he towed back from, but as long as he was in the second half of the track, wouldn't be too bad. Chin has spun it again, though, and he's falling further behind the leaders at the moment.
Woodward also
Woodward
making a
with a
mistake.
mistake.
Okay, so we have
Collinson has gone back to the pits.
a lot of stuff to show you. Let's begin with Collinson. With a big hit. Then is Chin, who should be okay. Then Woodward made all this happen basically at the same time. Woodward went wide.
Oh, lucky.
And Collinson, I think, decided to park the car.
Oh, that's just the worst corner. It wasn't too bad, though. Oh, it was the next one, okay. I mean, he was lucky to take that much curb on the first one to get away with that. I think the second one was perhaps a little bit of karma after that.
Can you imagine the groans of displeasure in just a few seconds in the chat? This big fan club, using Woodward and Newitt are fighting for P14. Very lucky was, as you were saying, Woodward. Let's see his mistake from his onboard. Just slightly tapped the wall. He was super lucky.
Maybe harm the door handles a little bit, but that should be pretty much it for the damage for Woodward. Lap times that last time round, so Foggy 8-minute dead, 3 seconds faster than the next driver, Brandon 8-minute 3, McClay 8-minute 4, Warmingham 8-minute 4, Tanaka 8-minute 6, Wilson 8-minute 5, Bibby 8-minute 5, Carr, I'll just go for the 10, so 10, McKnight 10, Klusman 8, so closing in a bit, off the circuit again for Woodward, and Newitt around the outside. I thought Woodward would back out of that one a little bit sooner. It's a better exit does Woodward, but nothing he can do with it. Good race so far for Tyler Newitt, especially after that spin, Marco. I thought maybe he was a bit nervous, struggling a little bit out there, but he's very much built into this race.
Bingham with an off. And then into the wall possibly, because he had a little bit of a moment. As Woodward also goes wide again. Now, you know, I am a bit of a realism first guy, so I tend to show a little bit more onboard cameras, because I don't think we have enough money to pay all the minions to have cameras all around the racetrack, you know. At least that's what I think, especially here in the Nordschleife section. Plus, I think this is a track that really suits onboard cameras better.
I mean, the cameras around here are not great. Apologies. Usually we do our own cameras. We adjust them ourselves. However, this is a long circuit, so we haven't gone to the efforts of doing it around here. But we'll get onto it at some point. But these onboard cameras pretty good. And some pretty good view to see Steve Lavelli moving ahead of Peter Bingham. He's just had an off that we saw previously. A decent lap there for Bingham. Well, he's a little bit off the pace. Sorry, Lavelli, of course, yeah, had a long lap time that last time around because he went into the pits. Didn't take a whole lot of fuel, did Lavelli. 5 seconds stationary. So that indicates that he just stopped for the fast repair and got back going on his way. I wonder what this lap time will be from him, however. Might be a bit of a improvement. Bingham coming into the pits, by the way. Lavelli with the 8 minutes 7.93. That's very good. That is faster than P4 man Richard Warmingham. So it's disappointing for Lavelli. Just confirmation once again how strong XBR are around this circuit after Suzuka Race 2, in which they only had one driver finish, and even then they only finished about 15th place.
Thanks to Alampis for following us also on Twitch. You already followed us, one of the most loyal viewers on the YouTube channel. O'Connor and Bokatairev are about to go at it. Jump on board with the Russian driver, sorted his connection issues. They're about to enter Schleifer once again. Bokatairev will try to put the most pressure possible on the Scottish driver in front of him in order to force a mistake as they take the first corner of the Nordschleife.
O'Connor's usually pretty good in these endurance events. I think he got 4th at Le Mans. Think about it, that was about 18 months ago. It was when I went to WC at Silverstone. That was. Ooh, as Hoffman stationary. Almost thought he got beached there. That element isn't in iRacing yet, and he's hit the wall again. So I think he already had a bit of steering damage. Maybe that second hit might buff the steering back in with some mega toe potentially. However, he has to take back to the pits. Wasn't too far away from the pits there for Hoffman, so might not be too costly. In real life, Marco, if you like get a tow back, if you have to get like a car to take you back, do you complete that lap or do you go back a lap?
I have absolutely. I mean, the problem is that usually when you crash here in the VLN or in the 24 hours of the Nurburgring, usually when you crash here, you don't have much of a chance to continue because the car gets smashed. You can if you notice a problem running around the GP track, you can basically cut the whole Nordschleife. You will get a 1 lap penalty, but you can head straight for the pits without having to take, the full lap around the racetrack.
Marco Nomella also telling us you complete the lap, but you get a bit of a time penalty. I did not know that was the case in real life motorsport. I feel like you haven't completed that lap. Flashbacks to 1989 Suzuka. When have you completed a lap, and when haven't you completed a lap? No, that's of course in iRacing you do complete the lap, and then you get a sizable extra time from iRacing depending on how far away you are from the end of the circuits. Bogatayev then, so you couldn't get past O'Connor, and now he's kind of dropped back a little bit as Bogatayev. He just had an 8:30, so had a tricky last lap. O'Connor's in the wall.
In the wall, yeah.
Sliding. And, well, there are some tyres there, so the damage might not be too bad for him. And that was an odd one there, Marco, because he seemed to lose it very early on.
A strange crash, I absolutely agree with you. Section, there the track was a bit downhill, so you might have the imbalance in the road might have unsettled this balance. By the way, it's pretty early in the morning, at least for my standards, 9:38, with 22 degrees track temperature, which is absolutely perfect for these guys. Partly cloudy, not a lot of wind. It's the 15th of May, of course, and Ole Christian Unneberg is back with us, and he is still on the lead lap, albeit 5 minutes and 41 seconds away from the race lead, but good for him that he's back onto the racetrack and maybe ready to fight another day and try to gain as many positions as he can. Of course, tough situation for everyone. Lap 4, we are 1 hour away from the white flag, which brings me to 2 points that I would like to make. The first is that we are probably going to see the first pit stops at the end of this lap, according to Tony Klusterman. And the second, that the moment in which the drivers will get the white flag, the leader will get the white flag, Sam, can pose a big problem if you have taken a bit of a gamble on fuel and the white flag comes at a weird time. You might see some drivers struggle with fuel and possibly run out of it in the final lap. It's always a problem around here, of course.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of how close it's going to be. Um, I believe Foggy will just miss out on a 12th lap. So that should be all right then for the majority of the drivers. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised that it's 11 laps. Some drivers may even fuel up for 12 laps. Of course, how far are we through the race so far? We're just over half an hour in and 4 laps. So yeah, it'll be 11 laps. So it shouldn't be too close. So hopefully the drivers don't get too confused. But you are right, Marco. If you're 0.9 of a lap behind, then that could potentially mess up your strategy, and it's a long way to go around this circuit. If you do run out of fuel, Tanaka just had a little bit of an off track, but he seems to be all right out there. Sam Buzan chasing down Lane O'Connor. This battle reigniting. Well, Bukata, of course, got past O'Connor when O'Connor made the mistake, and seems as though the XVR car isn't too damaged. We'll be able to repair it if he so chooses. If you were O'Connor in this situation, Marco, would you take the fast repair with the damage we believe he has, or would you save it for a worst moment?
I would take it if it's bad enough, which is a non-answer, of course, as Klusterman goes past his teammate. But of course, only he can know about this. Speaking of pit stops, as expected, here we go. Foggy, Brandon, McClay, warming up, Tanaka, Jamie Wilson. It's like Foggy bringing all the sheep into the pen. I don't think we'll see anyone try something crazy, like staying out. Everybody's coming in. Probably the guys who towed in the first few laps will stay out, but they're a long way back. And here comes Foggy with a 30-second stop. Coming out of the pits. Here comes Brandon. He is...
It was pretty close between Brandon and McClay previously, so there's a chance here. If McClay does take a little bit less fuel, they could get ahead. But, it's very close. Brandon versus McClay, defending champion versus championship leader. And it's McClay who's just ahead. He's got the jump.
Oh, but he's
But
wide.
he's gone wide on the cold tyres, and he gives up that second place. Oh, well, George McClay, he works really hard to close back the gap. He was within a second coming into the pits behind the car number 1. But that mistake coming out of the pits, and that could be quite a costly mistake, because it gives at least the opportunity for Brandon to have some clear track space. McClay was 1.5 seconds faster in the pit lane, hence why he managed to get ahead temporarily. No other big changes. Pretty much everyone's maintaining.
Yeah, sorry if I'm cutting away, but I see many drivers not go on the jacks, including Foggy, Brandon, and McClay, so I don't know if they're changing tires or not, you know?
Oh, I saw McClay on the jacks, I think. We need animated pit crews.
Yes, I agree. Ribeiro is changing those tires.
Everyone's pit stops are very similar. They're all about 30 seconds, it seems. Only Joe who maybe didn't take tires was, apologies, he has also been a pits on lap 1. So he didn't take tires, obviously, on that occasion. Klusterman round. Is this live? No, it's not. Apologies. But yeah, that's a mistake for Klusterman. He's given that position back up to Jamie McKnight then. Tanaka with an issue, or has he just given... That seemed as though he just slowed down to let his rival pass. Let's see, he had a big gap already over Wilson. Oh, it was a mistake. Oh, has he? Wow, that's close. I mean, in one way, he was unlucky to fall behind, just behind Wilson, but in another way, he's lucky to not have serious damage. The way that the cars get some air over that crest, absolutely incredible.
Okay, so let's see. Foggy, no, they all changed tires. Perfect.
It's your Italian strategy coming out, Marco.
Oh, Tanaka!
Oh, wow, that's going to be a slowdown as well. I said it was difficult to get a slowdown, but He's never underestimate Victor Tanaka. Unless, has he got one? I don't know. He surely get a
I
slowdown if
mean,
you
you
do that.
should get a slowdown there, you know. I mean, you should get a handshake
Yeah,
from a racing because you survived
yeah.
possibly a big crash.
I mean, if he finishes this race, Tanaka, we always have this in broadcast where we get through like the first 20 minutes and someone has like 3 near misses. And you think, well, how is this guy going to get to the end of the race? How are they not going to hit the wall?
So Michael Frost is in the pits as well. You can follow and track your favorite drivers, whatever they are doing, including pit stops on the bottom of your screen for pit stops, and of course the left side of your screen for the timing tower. But of course, in the link to this video, you will find the link to the live timing, and you can play around with it and see all of the nice statistics that will come to you in real time as well. As we are approaching lap 5, Anthony Woodward is having probably an issue. He's going very, very, very wide to the grass. Did he hit the wall? Car seems to be clean, so probably he just went off. See our great camera crew, never missing a beat. And he is sort of okay, I would imagine. I mean, that was a nasty bump, but seems to be fine. As jump on board with McLeay for a bit. Championship leader, like you were saying. So far, everything is going according to the script. At least for the front runners, they are in a class of their own, and more importantly for them, they are, especially for Brandon, they're about to bring on a good result, as we have also Tanaka and Jamie Wilson, another round between these two drivers.
This is the way he got past last time. He's going to try to get past again. Now, the Chimera driver backs off at this point. He's not backing off this time. Tanaka will have it though. He says that you can't overtake round the Nordschleife. Manages a superb move there, does Tanaka. Closing in on them is Lewis Bibby. He got a bit detached in the first lap or so. He's been faster than them ever since, and this could be a nice three-way battle for 6th position, or sorry, 5th position coming up soon. As long as Wilson stays close though, he's going to have a very good chance at the dot now.
He will, absolutely. I mean, drafting is not, of course, the biggest prerogative of this car, but in a straight that long, Sam, you are absolutely on point. It's going to be tough to get rid of the slipstream of the car following you, and of course, Lewis Bibi hoping for more of this, therefore he could close it as Tony Klusterman goes past Jamie McKnight again. He lost the position, of course, after his spin. Still nothing changes here at the front between Brandon and McLeay. But going back to my earlier point, so far so good for Johnny Brandon. Of course, it has been a very tough start of the season. He had a podium, but that could have easily been a victory, and we all know what happened there in Suzuka in race 1, where basically himself and Foggy gifted away the victory on the last lap by colliding and giving this guy, George McLeay, his first of the 2 race victories he had in the meeting. So I would say so far Brandon should be happy, but of course, knowing how the season is gone, it's never a time to relax for the defending champion.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have a good result here, then he's really not got a. Then he's going to be a very long way behind the championship leaders. So he does need a good result, and a second place. I would close the lead to the championship lead, and McLeay will have bad moments. Just remember the BSR Winter Series. Wonder who won that. But in that one, that was very. I mean, I was not particularly fast, but I just had to remind myself that other drivers will crash, and as long as I don't crash, then eventually I'll be able to move ahead of them. And I think that's the attitude that Brandon's got to have. Drive as fast as he can this season. He's not going to make up all the points just by being incredibly fast. He is very fast, but he can't get it done all by pace. But other drivers will have errors. across the season, and he's just got to make sure he makes less than them, and he could certainly be back into the championship. We are only 2 rounds completed in this season, of course. Anthony Woodward's had another off, and he is really struggling out there. It seems like it's just the fresh tires for Woodward, because he struggled at the start of the race, and he's now struggled at the start of this second stint. This is how it happened, and very similar to what we saw to another driver earlier on. Taps the wall, but well, should be able to drive on. Remarkable lack of damage on that car, seeing that he's had a few offs. Oh,
This is a
Sebi
big
goes
off.
into the wall.
Big off. He had an issue earlier. So this is the first one.
Uh-oh.
And then he had another one straight after. Probably. Yes, there he is. You can see him in the distance. As we need to go back here because we have some more fighting, and Bibi gets the move done on Wilson. So Wilson dropping a position to Tanaka and probably dropping one to Bibi as well into the first corner of the GP truck. I think as close as possible. In the meantime, Tony Klusterman got past Greg Carr just behind them, as you can see right here. So that first corner, like you were predicting in the opening, and you are always right, Sam, has proven to be the preferred passing spot for many of the drivers, because it is the biggest braking zone of the racetrack. Even at the end of the Dottinger hole, you are not really braking. Yes, you are braking, but it's more of a let's brake to save my life more than let's brake to make the corner, because it's a very tricky braking section, that one. Much more straightforward here, and of course ample space to make the move against your opponents. So lap 6 has started, has been we are around 21% in, as Chris Jackson enters the pits from position 18. He's one of the biggest losers of the race. He's lost 16 positions. Sorry, he's lost 12 positions compared to his starting one.
So Jackson towed at the start, didn't he? And then did we see, has he had any issues since then?
I don't remember.
Because he towed like almost outside the pits. I'm not sure what happened to him. It must have been a technical issue, because he literally towed on the pit straight pretty much. But now, yeah, doing his first pit stop. Only driver, I think, to do 5 laps in his first pit stop, and he's put in a bit less fuel. Going to be well, he could certainly get back up to the top 10. Could
Possible
Jackson.
slowdown. Sorry for O'Connor. He cut a big chunk of that chicane there. Seems to be okay. Gap between second and third keeps ebbing and flowing between half a second and 0.8 of a second. I don't know if McClay will go for the move just yet. We'll cut quickly to that if that was to happen, but very close fight here between these drivers. Let's jump on board with Sanderson for a bit.
We'll be able to see the crest that these drivers mount in just a moment. Of course, they go through this chicane and then over the bridge. I mean, this looks pretty scary from this point, because this is quite a big dip, and then just further up here, so say it's just the end of a cliff. Oh, massive air that they get. Of course, not a whole lot of downforce in these cars. Now off the circuit is O'Connor, Sanderson. The track's just so narrow. He had to lift out of it. He didn't have the confidence that he knew where the driver in front of him was going, so he lifted out of it and killed his momentum under massive pressure from behind as well. With Tyler Newitt just behind. Down the inside goes Sanderson. Oh, that's a lovely move. Waited for O'Connor to take the racing line, and Sanderson much deeper on the brakes. He's got the job done. He's up into 13th, back where he started.
We had an issue, technical issue for Jaroslav Sebula. Screen freeze after hitting the first time the barrier, and that was you know, I think now looking back at it, it was one of the possible explanations, because it's almost like he had no idea where he was going, and then he plowed into the wall on the other side. He's asking if he harmed anyone. That was not the case. As this fight continues between Bibi and Wilson, and so the beautiful not I will call it long distance, this close distance nerve war between Brandon and McLean.
McLean couldn't get past on the GP section on the last lap, despite being pretty close everywhere else, just losing a little bit of time there through the right-hander. Seemed in the first stint that he kind of got faster and faster, did McLean. He seemed to have better tyre life than Johnny Brandon. Might be the case in this one as well. Big question for these guys, I guess, will be, will they go for a three-lap stint here, or will they go for a 4-lap stint? 11 laps, remember, in this race, unless these drivers go extremely fast or extremely slow. We are now over halfway into the event and yet to complete this 6th lap of the race, so certainly on target for the 11-lap target. I guess McLean's just got to do whatever Brandon doesn't do here, Marco. I mean, it's not easy to overtake, especially a good driver such as Johnny Brandon. These two seem quite even on pace, maybe a small advantage for McLean. So, I mean, if Brandon comes in after 3 laps, McLean maybe does 4, and if Brandon stays out after 3 laps, then maybe McLean goes in for an undercut.
Sorry, I'm doing some PR work for our overlay.
That is okay. We do get paid the big bucks, of course, to promote SDK gaming.
I couldn't remember the exact address, which now is there, because someone was asking how can we be on the same page whilst being in a different physical location. And of course, thanks to the great work of Pascal Iglin and the other fantastic folks at SDK Gaming, we are able to, well, I am able to command via my end of the connection with on my another software to command the cameras and the graphics and everything else on Sam's computer. Therefore, if I switch to Greg Carr, for example, he switches to Greg Carr as well and has the same information on the screen, even if we switch, for example, to the battle box, which of course now is not available, or the weather panel, etc. So, a really fantastic solution. And STK Gaming, of course, has recently started licensing the software to other broadcasters as well. It's nice to see them pop up, and of course also to individuals for their private streaming. Here we go on the dotting arrow. Here comes McLean on the outside using that slipstream, and now he needs to try and get a good run entering the S's, and he does so with ease. Brandon not really fighting it. I don't know if he had a choice or not, but it's a great pass, and up to second is McLean. It took him 1 lap to get back to the position that he lost coming out of the pits, basically.
Yeah, apologies, having a couple of technical issues on my side, so I'll just watch the stream. But yeah, a massive move there from McLean to get up into second position. I mean, he looks faster in this last couple of laps, and he does, like I was saying before, does usually build into these stints quite well. The question is, can he now break the drought? Can Brandon potentially come back with him?
As we catch here a replay of Lane O'Connor, who I think went hard into the barriers here on the left side. Yes, massive hit for Lane O'Connor. Did he tow back to the pits? Unfortunately, I think that he has, because he is not appearing anymore on our screen. Poor Sam, of course. Now you have to wait basically half the race to go back, because the Nordschleife is notoriously a hard track to get back into. Not taking shades of your computer, it happens to everyone.
No, I know what you're saying, Mark. Okay? No need to caption it, I get it.
It's a long way if you want to come to the Nordschleife, but of course, thankfully this is an enduro round, so we have plenty of time. Well, to be fair, we are only 40 minutes away from the end of the race, which, as per every Euro V8's enduro, flown past very quickly. We still have one stop to go for all of these drivers. So far, let's move to this other battle here, because we have Sanderson and Lavelli, but they're not really close to each other, so let's stay with... Oh, sideways goes McLeod there. Still sideways again, really risking it. He wants to pull that gap. He doesn't want a repeat of what happened, of course, in this previous lap, where McLeod had the draft of on Brandon in the very, very long fine backstretch, can we call it that way, and was able to make the move with ease. So wants to break the draft. Not going to be easy. He's pushing like crazy. Is McLeod. But I think that this fight will probably be solved come the end of the race, after the second pit stop, because it's going to be still a long way to go, and we have seen that the drivers can try something crazy, or makes a big difference, especially if you pit this close to one another. Your different, your timing inside your pit stall, etc., coming out can really make a big difference. So Steve Lavelli here now closing in on Wayne Sanderson. Now
I guess this is a bit of a unique circuit in terms of the undercut for these guys, because when you got the fresh tyres, usually that's a disadvantage, if anything, especially if you're around a short circuit, because spend the whole lap just trying to warm up the tyres, and often the overcut is faster. Of course, such a long lap round here, you warm up the tyres maybe on the GP circuit, and then for the rest of the circuit, going to be a bit faster. So it does open up a strategic opportunity for these guys. Maybe something that's if you're stuck behind a driver, come in after this 7th lap, and you could be in for a bit more success.
Oh yeah, absolutely, unless you have some innovative way of warming the tires, as here we go with Lavelli passing Sanderson as they are getting into the Adenauer Forest here on the right-hander. Actually, we just went past one of my favorite sectors, Adenauerschleife. Of course, I'm
I thought you
referring...
hate this place.
Yes, but some of the names are absolutely fantastic. And the section we just went past is called, and get ready for my terrible German, Schwedenkreuz.
I think it's been resurfaced. That's that part of the track as well recently. Of course, it's such a long circuit that it's not a case of, do you feel like resurfacing it? You got to they kind of do a little bit each winter whilst the track is effectively closed. And I think that was the most recently done bit. I think they pretty much do a bit every single year and just work their way around it. And when one bit has been done, they go back to it, many years later, whilst doing the other bits. So it's a nice system that they've got going. Must be very tricky though to get everything out to the forest out there.
Oh, and of course I said the name of the next corner wrong, because it's not Adenauer, it's Arenberg. Adenauer is at the 7-kilometer mark! And Lavelli is into the wall. And Woodward as well, right behind him. Let's get a replay first of Lavelli. Let's see what happened to him. From the chopper, we were following him with our TV cameras, and this corner takes another victim, and Anthony Woodward was following him, not that closely, but still following him.
Oh, that's a painful one. That I honestly just despise. He's just dipped a wheel. He's done well actually to recover that one, because he's gone wide at the left, and thinking he's staying straight at the wall. Oh dear, he's hit the wall again. Soon after. So big damage for Anthony Woodward. in 16th place. Still got 21 drivers in this race. Everyone on the lead lap still. Pretty good attrition rate so far. Brandon has really stepped it up again. He's showing that car number 1. Warmingham's only 5 seconds behind these guys. So, not too bad. But I'm just looking at the times, Marco. George McClay just did an 8-minute 11.71, then Brandon did an 8-minute 4.24. Is that correct, or is that our system playing up?
No, that is quite correct. I'm imagining it's because of where the pit lane.
But they didn't pit on the last lap.
They didn't pit on the last. They pitted on the lap before, so that was the lap, because they came out of the pits. Brandon passed McClay, and then they did the full lap. Then they got to the start-finish line. There was another overtake, and now this is the lap after. No.
But they came out of the pits on lap 5, where I'm referring to lap 6 at the moment. I don't know. I think it's just an error on our screen, because I don't think certainly McClay was faster on that last lap. Brandon's going to have a good chance, I think, at getting past McClay. 3/10 of a second separate the two of them at the moment down the Dotnahoe. But just looking at the relative, it doesn't seem like Brandon's really gaining anything on his rival. And so perhaps some good straight line speed for the car number 3. Yeah, so McClay hanging on to P2 at the moment against Brandon. Then we've got, as McClay comes into the pits.
Oh, yes.
So he is going to go for a 3-lap stint. That's it's bold. He could leave himself vulnerable in the closing stages, because he's going to have older tyres than Brandon. But I guess it means that Brandon can't get the undercut. I don't know. It's odd for the driver ahead to go for the more aggressive strategy. Usually you see the driver who's got more to do to go for the aggressive strategy instead.
So let's see if any other takers come into the pits. Yes, Tony Klusterman is in, and as per usual, he gives us one strategy, but then he does another one. I mean, so he either does this to trick us, or he does this because he's afraid we might give some information. No, of course not. Of course, he publishes that in the Euro V8 Discord, so it's for everyone to see there.
And to be fair, yeah, he did say 2 4-lap stints and a 3-lap stint. So I think he's on target at the moment.
I was expecting them to be in. I thought he meant in this order, like, you know.
Aha. Also, McClay has had an awful pit stop. 1 minute 3. What's up with that? Shall we see what his pit entry was like? Because maybe a couple of 15-second penalties. I don't know. That's very strange. That's all fine, isn't it?
From my perspective, it looked like a good pit entry.
So he's only just ahead of Klusterman now. He's lost 40 seconds. As George McClay, second place, may not be possible anymore for the championship leader. Heck, he could go down to... Well, he's going to go down to 7th place, it looks like. As long as everyone else has decent pit stops. Could be a lot of points squandered for him. Remember, 15 points between each position, basically. You also have penalty points and bonus points, but they tend not to be so relevant in these endurance races. As Victor Tanaka, has he had another off? He's only just ahead of Lewis Bibby now.
No, it's okay. Just we got a glimpse of Ole Christian Uneberg going wide.
Marco Nomella suggesting it could be an instant penalty. I doubt they'd get to that many incidents. Although, yeah, it's 15. Could be possible. Good shout, Marco. With a K.
But with the Louis B. Texans Fitztime Motorsport, now the highest placed driver of this team. We'll see if even with the penalty, if it's going to be possible for George McClay to go past him as we jump on board with McClay, because now he has a bit of traffic ahead of him.
One is done with. Bizan very helpful in that situation. Next up will be Bogotayev, 1 second ahead. By the way, Bogotayev lapping some 12 seconds a lap slower than what McClay usually does. Bogotayev hasn't been especially fast, I'd say, Marco, but he's actually kept it on the track very well, and he's top 9 position. It's kind of what we expect from Nikolai, to be fair, but considering they had the connection issues earlier on, apart from that, I don't think he's had any offs, unlike pretty much everyone else.
I mean, consistency is key, in my opinion, and Nikolai has been around long enough, I think, to know this, and he knows this, and he has been driving very smartly out there. I don't think he's going to try to hold McClay too much here, even though it's always you don't want to lift too much because you risk getting your opponents close behind you. As I want to switch to another battle because we have Tanaka and Bibi super close. Let's go there for a second because seems like, of course, Nikolai will do the opposite of what I said. Oh man, need split screen. Thanks to Fiercely Forward for following us on Twitch. Of course, they are a team that races in the Sim Racers World Championship starting from this year. So, thanks for following us. Of course, we stream that series and others, including the Formula 3.5 tonight at 22 GMT on the iRacing Esports Network. So you have basically both channels where you can find our own broadcasts. And if you want more endurance racing, why shouldn't you? As I keep clicking to find, because all the battles exploded at the same time. If you want more endurance racing, you can join myself and Sam tomorrow at 13 GMT for the Sim Racers World Abruzzi Endurance Series. That will be a 1,000 kilometer race from the beautiful Road America racetrack, and it will be on this channel.
Sure will be. Austin Knight also joining us for round 3 of that championship.
Yeah, you must be very happy about it, because that will mean that I will do my, you know, quiet, behind the scenes, occasional pearl of wisdom kind of afternoon. We need a break.
How I'm thinking it is that I get a 3-day break from you after that.
We need a break from each other, you know?
Yeah. Although he's as Bogotayev is off the carousel and he's lost the place to Buzan, so that's a particularly good lap for Bogotayev. He's doing World GT on Monday because I'm filling in for Adam, I think. But I think Woody's now not doing it, so you might have to do World GT with me as well on Monday, which... Oh,
Greg Carr, leader of the Racetech Cup, the race inside the race for the gentleman drivers. Let's see the replay.
That's a big hit, isn't it? How much damage does he have? Maybe see from an onboard.
As Foggy is in.
That's not too bad. He's going to take a pit stop anyway soon. It would be fantastic to know who has taken a fast repair and who hasn't, but no way of knowing that. Even the judge, I think, won't be 100% sure on that, Matt. So often leave it ticked at your first pit stall and then accidentally use it. Foggy, pitting, taking tyres, nothing crazy. It's been a comfortable drive for him so far. Very little in his way. No traffic, of course. It's such a long lap that we need to deal with that. So it's been very good for him so far. Brandon in, warming him in. Everyone's going to be in. The only driver who did more than 4 laps in the first stint were Jackson and Chin, but I think they may have pitted on the first lap. So not quite sure on that. Bibby locking the brakes. Good news for him though. He's right on the tail of Tanaka and just a couple of seconds less fuel, and the position could be his. Foggy is already out. 30-second pit stop. Guess the big thing is, where is McClay going to be in relation to this? He's still heading down the dot in the hoe as we speak.
I saw a car come past pit lane. Was it Michael Frost?
Justin, no. Yeah, probably Michael Frost.
Yeah, which I cannot find on the line. Oh, there he is. Yes, it was him. He's 3 laps down, of course.
Oh, Brandon with a long pit stop is warming. Oh, he nearly got ahead, did Richard Warming. He was 5 seconds behind. He had a 5-second shorter pit stop, and yet Johnny Brandon just about staying ahead. Wilson with a mega short pit stop, and he's got ahead into 4th place. So the driver, he was looking as though he'd almost fallen off the battle for 4th. He's managed to get himself back up into 4th. So then it is Tanaka and Bibby. McClay is in 7th place, pretty much as we expected, although, of course, Carr, with his mistake, perhaps would have been ahead if it weren't for that, but instead he is behind. And then it's Klusterman in 8th. So
Brandon goes wide.
Brandon's gone wide. And it's Richard Warmingham moving past his teammate. It's still an XBR 1-2-3. But
Wilson goes wide, the same spot.
Number 1, and now Wilson has made a mistake. Some ice on that part of the circuit, seemingly. And Brandon's got back past Warmingham. So Warmingham letting past Brandon there into 2nd position. Is Wilson still ahead of Tanaka? Really close between the two of them at the moment. This is crucial for Jamie Wilson to hang on to this place. However, it's Tanaka with the much better speed. Wilson can't cut off the line, and it is Victor Tanaka moving back ahead into 4th position. And this is a thing that we've seen a couple of times, Michael. Like I said, the GP circuit, it's so important. And drivers on these new tyres, very cool tyres, of course, less grip, they make a mistake in the first few corners, and it costs them for pretty much the rest of the stint.
Absolutely, and I think in the XVR boys who are now occupying the first 3 spots, look at this fantastic fight between Buzin and Bogatyrov. You know, oh, cold tires strike again. Buzin is around. So the message was loud and clear as Carr is hard into the wall. Wilson is wide, but let's see Carr. Here comes Sanderson and Bogatyrov. Oh man, it's all happening. It's all kicking off. So how hard of a hit this was?
It's not too bad.
So like I said, the message was loud and clear. I think.
It's back on.
Message to Richard was Johnny is faster than you. And he got the message. No need to risk it.
I think it was multi-21.
Multi-21.
Multi-21. And so he's like, nah, mate, I'm heading past. He closed the line. I had to go over the line. I repeat, I had to go over the line. I watched that video a couple of days ago. Shockingly, not many people. I assume you know why he overtook Webber. You know the history about it. Because it was after Interlagos the season before.
Yes.
Yeah, when Vettel was going for the title and Webber, off the start, basically squeezed him into the pit wall, and Vettel just got vengeance for that, which makes Vettel's actions a bit more better. Because I mean, that was a bit of a bad move from Mark to.
Man, I want.
Not like Kovalainen, who was diving in front of every car he went in front of Hamilton back in 08.
I was so afraid that would have been a repeat of 2007, but it wasn't.
No. You must really like Interlagos with Ferrari's recent record on that.
Well, I never liked it because I mean no. Let's be honest. It was one of the best races of all time, in my opinion, because not only it was a great race per
Which
se, the Interlagos 2012,
Okay.
but it was also not only you had the drama of a great race per se, but you had the drama of the worst. I mean, for example, Germany last year was a fantastic race with the weather crashes and all drama all around. But these had that plus the drama for the championship. So it was. I might watch it again on F1 TV later. Well, after the Formula 3.5 broadcast. Which, by the way, will be at Interlagos next week.
Of course, yeah. Unfortunately, I never saw that Interlagos race live because I was in the Bahamas doing a karting event in there. Literally the peak of my life. It's been downhill ever since then. I was 12 at the time, and my life has gone very much southwards ever since. But I was doing the Bahamas Speed Week, driving my kart. So I didn't see it live, and I only saw the race in full like 5 years after. Oh, baby! Whoa, wow, that was Alonso 2012 Interlagos V8ESC there in the wet, but this is bone dry, and he's just hung on to that Bogotyrev. Well, if he wants to do some nice gymnastics, then that will get some good scores, but it's not going to keep his lap times down. Where is Bogotyrev now? He's in 14th. He lost a place to the belly doing that. Oh, Wilson. And Bibby. And Bibby's ahead.
Great
What a
pass.
move that was. Gotta go back. I think we're going to have to see that one back. That's surely one of the moves of the race, which and there's been quite a few of them.
We might have another round first. It's all kicking off in this final 50 minutes of the race, Sam. Everyone is doing their best, and these two guys are really going at it. Let's jump on board. Okay, no, let's. I dare go and watch the replay. Bibi, the blue car on the outside.
Lovely.
Two
No
wheels on the
curb
grass.
there. And he took advantage of the lack of curb.
Beautiful stuff. Thank you, Master PL, for subscribing to us on Apex Racing TV. Hopefully you are enjoying the show as well here on YouTube. It's quarter of an hour away from the clock hitting the 1 hour and 30 minutes mark, which of course will not mean that the race ends there. It will just mean that next time the leader goes to the start-finish line, he will get the checkered flag. But we've seen some drivers, Sam, I'd say, gambling on their fuel in this final stop. I think Wilson was one of them. And let me reiterate, if you haven't had enough... Oh, Warmingham almost throwing and maybe throwing a 1-2-3 for XVR into the bin.
Oh, he's got some steering damage, I think.
Oh, that is absolutely disastrous for him. Let's see the replay. He got a pretty big whack onto the wall.
Oh, it's just it. He was in line as well to fight Brandon. And actually, he's really unlucky there because that was almost square on. And you can see the damage he's got. As long as he hasn't got a meatball, he'll continue, I imagine. But it's going to jeopardize his pace quite a bit. He's got only 7.5 seconds to Tanaka.
Yeah,
I say
Tanaka...
only. I mean, you can put only in front of anything. It makes it sound small. But, I mean, it seems like it's 7.5 seconds. It's certainly catchable.
Yeah, and Tanaka's got Bibi and Wilson on his tail, so we will bring them closer into him. So Warmingham, I mean, if he has a meatball, he should be okay because I don't know.
That's a good point.
Probably a couple of laps left. Lapping in the region of 8:46 was the last lap for Nicole Foggy, but of course that had a pit stop. Here is our leader, often forgotten today, but honestly enjoying a nice ride at the front. Johnny Brandon in second place, but now all the attention goes to the third XVR car, who briefly was tasting the second place champagne taste, which is better than the third place champagne.
A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly, of course. as he had to relinquish his position straight away to Le Champion. Johnny Brandon, number 1 of his car, second title in 3 years. And Nicole Foggy trying to do exactly the same, the second title in 3 years. He had a beautiful start to his championship. George McClay, who was a contender for most of the race for the podium, is now sitting in 7th place. Actually, let's see, well, I mean, the lap time comparison is not very useful around here, as you can see.
It was a very good lap though from McClay. It seems as though he's got, he should catch. Well, I've only got 2 laps to go, isn't it? He should be about 5 seconds a lap faster than these guys, so he should catch. It could be a very exciting dot in the hoe between Tanaka, well, between Warmingham, Tanaka, Bibby, Wilson, and McClay, and maybe even Klosterman as well. I think they're all going to be able to catch one another on lap 11. I mean, if this was a 2-hour race, I think the final half an hour would be just as entertaining as what we've seen in the last hour and 15.
I have to tip my cap to Marco Nurmela, because I think he is right. He said that probably McClay got a black flag for cutting the white line coming out of the pits because his lap 5, 6 and 7 have all been not registered by the system, and that happens not when you get on off track, the lap is still taken into account for the gaps, but not when you have a black flag. And as you can see right here, 5, 6 and 7, no time has been recorded. Oh, Bibi goes into the grass!
Oh!
Saves it.
He did that on the last lap.
Yeah, there are some drivers who are really fond of that bit of grass there. As they get to the Schwedenkreuz once again, turning right into Arenberg. Under the bridge.
McClay's had a underwhelming laps, 8.5 seconds behind these guys. Now he hasn't really caught up a whole lot, despite the fact that, of course, Bibby did make that mistake. And they are catching Warmingham by good. In fact, I mean, they're catching Brandon as well. I think if Brandon gets second place here, he'll be quite thankful for it, because I think Brandon, Warmingham, Tanaka, Bibby, Wilson, McClay, Klosterman are all really evenly matched, and maybe even Greg Carr as well. I think I wasn't too far off the pace, and Chris Jackson as well, maybe. It's been a really competitive field. It kind of makes what Nicole Foggy has done out here, being 50 seconds clear of everyone. That just makes it incredible. Everyone else has been competitive, and if Foggy wasn't here, we'd be saying, "Oh, these guys are driving absolutely insane. They're driving to the maximum of this circuit." And yet, it takes a whole different perspective when you see what Nicole Foggy has done in comparison. Oh, Wilson Bosch. And he's in the middle of the circuit now. Where is McClay? Oh, is McClay going to be able to see? Yes, he does in time. Would have had the yellow flags. Wilson hopefully will be able... Well, of course, as we were saying, the meatball doesn't matter. He's going to have Klosterman on his tail soon as well. Oh, well, that was... That's been a tricky corner for drivers, but we haven't seen a mistake like this, Marco, and it's full attention for Justin Wilson. It was just not to hit the car ahead, and he at least succeeded with that.
Yeah, that was a pretty big whack there. Of course, let me see it from the chopper, because I think putting wheels on the grass and trying to brake at the same time doesn't work with the new tire model.
I think it was just too deep.
Yeah, it was on the. Oh yeah, you are right. Now it didn't, and you know, despite hitting the tire barrier, it was still a pretty big damage. I was just about to point out that this is basically something that has to happen one day, especially hopefully this year. I mean, as Greg Carr clips the wall. I mean no harm to anyone, but I would like to see, for once, a race in F1 where the 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bull, 2 Mercedes all have a pile-up in turn 1.
Yes.
And we have, you know, a Formula 1.5 race.
No, but no, it'd probably be like really dull. It'd probably be just like, I don't know, Ricciardo goes and wins it comfortably or something like that. I don't know.
I'm not liking Red Bull. Sorry, I'm not liking Renault from the tests. I'm expecting a lot from Red Bull. I think Red Bull are, and I've been saying this for the past season now. I think Red Bull are better suited than Ferrari for this year. That might just be my wishful thinking.
I mean, there were people making the point how last season the fastest team in testing didn't necessarily win the championship. So I'm reluctant to call anything. I will say though, Racing Point will be very competitive at Australia with the Mercedes from last season, which is basically mega fast round Albert Park. I think they're going to be potentially fighting as the third fastest team for that race. Seeing that Ferrari are atrocious at that circuit.
Can't wait for the season to start. Can't wait for maybe have a little bit of a real life racing section of our podcast that you can follow more or less weekly on Apex Racing TV. Sanderson and Buzyn are still going at it as the battles at the front have cooled just a bit, but not by much, because I think Birmingham is about to be caught by Tanaka and Bibi, of course, and McClay. As you can no, maybe McClay, no. Let's say I would say Tanaka and Bibi, of course. Wilson was. Did I jinx Tanaka? No, it just went wide there. He's okay. As we need to keep an eye on our race leader, who starts now. Wow, I mean, this is going to be very close. So his last lap was 8 minutes. He crossed the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's quite close, isn't it?
With 1 hour, 22 minutes and 0 seconds. And we know iRacing...
too quick.
Yeah, you know iRacing sometimes, if when in doubt, gives the extra lap. So we'll have to see what happens.
I mean, Klosterman couldn't have predicted the pace from Foggy. I mean, Foggy's 1 minute clear.
Yeah.
So if it weren't for him, we would have a minute to spare. That's what would have been in Tony's calculations. I mean, if we have an extra lap here, that no one's going to get to the end of the race.
And that
even
will
Foggy
postpone
might not get to the end of the race.
That will postpone my dinner, which will make me very angry and
True.
hungry at the same time.
So 1 lap to go for the majority of guys, and it's Foggy leading by a minute. Brendan in second place. Warming's keeping up with him, but Brendan's just not particularly fast right now. Wilson's come into the pits to fix that damage. Hopefully he's got his fast spare available. So Brendan just did an 8 minute 9. Warmingham 8 minute 14. Tanaka 8 minute 5. Bibi 8 minute 4. McClay 8 minute 9. What happened to McClay? He just seems slow for the entire lap, did McClay. Maybe he's saving fuel. Maybe he's figured out that there's going to be a 12th lap to this race. Wilson hasn't got his fast repair, by the way, so he might be in the pits for a little while. Got a decent gap back to Greg Carr. Here's the next battle, Buzyn versus Sanderson. Buzyn moving up into the top 10 for the first time in this race, I believe. Wilson's got back going, by the way. Sanderson will try to keep behind Lavelli. Lavelli gets ahead, though, into 11th, so that's a very unsuccessful straight for Wayne Sanderson. Nikolai Bogatyv 15 seconds behind these guys after a couple of mistakes for the Russian.
Yeah, Bogatyrev's connection is once again playing a bit of games on him.
Back up to 1,675. Its quality, though, is 60. Oh, it was 69. It's now down to 68.
So Birmingham and Tanaka. Let's see the sector-by-sector comparison. The gap between the pair of them, as you can see, is 2 seconds. You can see that yellow and black car of Tanaka getting closer and closer, even though in these first couple of sectors Birmingham was quicker. And of course Birmingham getting closer and closer to Brandon. Let's see, well, cosa, staying there. Oh well, took away a second Tanaka in this sector 3. Remember, there are 16, 15, 14, 12.
14. Oh, 12, okay.
12.
We're so good at our job.
And I mean, if the closing rate continues to be like this, Tanaka has a decent shot at the podium and ruining the possible lockout for XVR of the first 3 places. But let me give a big shout out to Wormingham, because he's improving so fast and so quickly. And I think it was him that at the end of the season, last season, was a bit sad, because he had finally figured out, in the words of Johnny Brandon, the cars, the older cars, and now racing through a curveball, a very welcome one, I might add, to have these new cars. But it seemed that he hasn't missed a bit. Sadly for him, that close encounter with the wall slowed him down significantly. But if this is indeed the last lap, he could still fight. It's a long way to go. We are not even halfway through the final lap for him. It's halfway through the final lap for Nicole Foggy. But, you know, of course, he's in another zip code as of this moment.
I mean, quite literally.
Quite literally, yes. I mean,
I know, maybe they just make this whole forest one zip code. I'm not quite sure. He hasn't slowed down so far, Foggy, but I imagine it would be beneficial for XVR if this was the last lap. Because they're 1, 2, 3, so they can't really get any better than that. Here is that Sanderson moving past Buzan? Buzan's having none of it though. Lavelli bringing himself into this. Have they both just got past Lavelli?
Sanderson is here, so that was Buzin, Carr, and Lavelli, all 3 of them. And
yeah.
And Buzin, yeah, they've been passing each other basically back and forth. Seems like Lavelli has a good run. By the way, Lane O'Connor of XVR typing in the chat, we know what we are doing.
3 times as well, which
3 times as well. It's an unrealistic Kimi impression, because you would only say it 1 time.
Yeah. Everyone got plenty of fuel. I don't know. It's impressive that he's wait, is O'Connor still in this race? Has he retired? No, he has retired. I was thinking if he's driving around the Nordschleife in this car whilst communicating with us, that is very impressive. No, more flashbacks to 2012 as well. I mean, what a year.
What a year it was.
Arguably not as good as 2010, but certainly up there as one of the best seasons. Tanaka 1.8. If anything, it's more likely that Bibi will catch Tanaka 9/10 of a second. Tanaka's giving everything. He will not feel as though he's got too much to lose, although he certainly is a championship contender, so would like to score some good points. Still, this one's going on. Brilliant battles amongst the field today. Often we get Nordschleife races where half the field are out of the race within the first couple of laps, and then it's very much spread out action from then on. But look at this. We are 1 hour and 29 minutes into this race, and we've still got wheel-to-wheel action. Sanderson makes his way past Greg Carr. Seems to be very slow, maybe damaged.
His Holden has been wounded with that contact with the barriers a few minutes ago, and he hasn't recovered since, now dropping down to 12th place. Richard Wormingham, you can see on the left side of his car the paint being scraped away after that contact with the wall. He's still holding on. The gap between himself and Tanaka is 1.5 seconds. Here comes Foggy. Is this the final lap?
So we got 10 seconds. No, I think this is going to be it. It depends. Is he slowing down? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No, it's one more lap. There is no checkered flag coming on my screen. Yeah. It's one more lap of racing.
So they extended it by about 4 minutes. So apologies, we build this as a 1 hour 30 race. It's a 1 hour 30 and 4 second race. Who's pitting then? This is a curveball. Does Brandon have enough fuel? He has been slow. Does McClay have enough fuel? He's been quite slow recently. Klusman as well has been pretty slow. Good news for warming him is, apologies, good news for Tanaka. He's got a bit of a draft. I don't think that's going to quite get him an entire extra lap around the Nordschleife. Is Brandon going to bail? Seems not. Warming's under pressure. Here comes Tanaka. 2/10, 1/10. Alongside. Oh, he's off the circuit. But he's lifted out of it again. He's going to have to pit then. Surely these guys would have prepared for the 11 laps. And you can't fuel save round this circuit. You can't fuel save an entire lap. None of them are coming in. Well, they're smarter people than I, clearly. Here comes Bibby from nowhere. Tanaka fends him off. And Tanaka's going to go for 4th position as well. 3rd position even. Warmingham sticks it around the outside. Bibby is going to have a better line. McClay has had to come into the pits. He pitted a lap earlier than these guys, of course, so he had no chance of making it whatsoever. And still Tanaka hasn't got the move done. Warmingham trying to stick in there. Tanaka's going to spin round. Oh, he's just about hung on to it. He commits again to another move on Warmingham, who runs wide. And here comes McClay, who's going to be able to take advantage of this. Oh, can't quite make it. Apologies, Bibby, who's down the inside of Tanaka, who squeezes him on the inside. Old man. Is now on the machines.
Oh, man.
And this is so important on the GP circuit before we get onto the Nordschleife. Warmingham looks as though he's going to stay ahead of these guys. Bibby has got past Tanaka, who I'm sure will be aggressive in his retaliation to get back ahead. As you say, Klusman back into the pits, and he's got a decently long pit stop as well, seemingly there. He's taking Jamie Wilson, moves ahead of him. As Klusman should come out of the pits in 8th position, I assume. Bibby, can he stay ahead of Tanaka, having to go defensive? And he's got onto the Nordschleife ahead of Victor Tanaka. Crucially, big slide. Is this the opportunity for the privateer driver? Oh, way better speed for Tanaka. How was that possible? He was just switching on the traction control as if. And moves back ahead. And Bibby is being left in a different century there. What happened?
I have no clue. What I know is that every driver is looking with a lot of attention. And by the way, Tony Klusterman is having a long pit stop. He's been in his pit stop for more than 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Maybe could be another one of those penalties, but then when Bibby had his, it was much shorter. He's been dropping outside the top 10. Awful news for the Canadian, the 2-time champion. And it hasn't been a good season so far. Looking as though he could get a decent result today, but he's still stationary. So him and Jackson might be able to overtake him now, I think.
Jackson is in the pits.
So McClay stayed in 6th place, by the way. After that, so he didn't lose any places, but at the same time, he can't attack these guys. So McClay's going to finish this race 50 seconds behind Brandon. I mean, how has that happened? But a couple of too many incidents. Of course, these guys might be marginal incidents as well. As McClay, well, that's not going to help him at all either. Going off the circuit. We'll still be championship leader after this. But his championship lead will be cut from 110 points to Nick Foggy. It's going to be down to, what, 75 points lost, I imagine? So it'll be down to about 30. Despite the fact that he has won 3 races so far this season. This is the 5th race of the season. Oh, Tanaka.
And
well,
Bibby.
that was... Yeah. Oh, Bibby's hot as well. Into the wall, surely. Oh, well, that's lucky for Lewis Bibby. That was very similar to what we saw earlier on. And that corner again. Just, you brake a little bit later than you usually do, and it's gone. There's no way of recovering. There's so little runoff there. Oh, he's all over the place as Warmingham. This is the opportunity for Tanaka. Warmingham puts his car in the middle of the circuit. However, he hasn't done enough to defend the move from Victor Tanaka, who moves into the top 3. Half a lap to go, and he's done it just in time.
Great pass from Tanaka, and he gets on the podium provisionally, whilst Bibi was losing a bit of contact before, but after his mistake has lost even more. He's lucky to be still in this race. Warmingham is not giving up. They are taking such extreme risks around here, Sam. This is for, basically it all comes down to this, and it's such a edge of the knife moment. I mean, this is so crucial to not make any mistakes, but at the same time they both want this podium, as it would be of course a great accomplishment, and you score a bunch of points in this, and of course the set of points available for you is the same across every weekend, as there's a bit of a mistake there from Birmingham. You get the same points on offer for super sprints, sprint and enduros rounds, but of course with this you get all the points in one race. Therefore you can really change your season for the better if you can bring home a good result. Brandon has pulled away from this fighting trio, now duo, now a little bit separated from each other. They were not that far away from him.
Oh, Tanaka's run a little bit wide there, though. That's given up a couple of tenths. Should be all right. As Lavelli just gone off the circuit, he's off! Steve Lavelli, and he's lost his rear wing as well. He's got he's only got 9 seconds to car. I think Car's going to be able to pass him. But that's the battle with Buzan gone. Sanderson as well pitted, by the way. He's down into 12th. But Nicole Foggy, a lot's happened behind him. Nothing's happened in front of him. He's led from the start, under a bit of pressure from Johnny Branton right at the start. But he has not put a foot wrong. He's got the cleanest car out there. He's been the fastest car on circuit every single lap. And he's going to take his second race victory of the season as well. Car number 66, Nicole Foggy, crosses the line to win the endurance meeting in the Racetech V8 Supercar Series at Nurburgring. We got a long gap back to Johnny Brandon, 1 minute and 7 behind. Warmingham's close though. Warmingham is close to Tanaka as far as I'm seeing. Apologies, that was incorrect. I thought he was 2 tenths behind. It's 1.7. And it looks as though XVR aren't going to get a 1-2-3. Because this man, Victor Tanaka, he started then in 19th place. Bibby's off the circuit as well, but he's all right. Have these guys got enough fuel though? They were marginal on fuel, we believe. But they should be okay to finish this race. It's pretty much downhill from this point onwards. And Johnny Brandon isn't going to make up too many points in the championship. However, it's certainly going to be his first good result of the season. The car number 1, the 2-time champion, the defending champion. And he's going to secure a second place finish. From second on the grid. Victor Tanaka, he's going to beat Richard Warmingham. Great drive from Tanaka. And if it weren't for a few mistakes as well, maybe he could have got even better. But still, a top 3 from the position he started is a very good effort. Bibby finishes in 5th. McClay, what could have been for him? Works hard for second place. Kloosterman has had another off. I didn't even realize he'd exited the pits.
Kloosterman exited the pits just in front of Foggy.
Yeah.
If he makes my dinner even later than what I was expecting, I'm going to take the first flight to Canada and tell him in his face that I'm not happy.
Maybe you can export some maple syrup to you instead.
Man,
maybe that will make up.
I love maple syrup. That would make up for it, yes. Here comes McClay then. 6th place for him in the end. Big disappointment. He could have and maybe should have been on the podium. But that's.
I mean, should have got second place, really.
Yes.
It was that early pit stop though, which cost which probably cost him. I mean, to be fair, he didn't put enough fuel in the. I don't know. I mean, well, we're going to find out from the driver interviews, but I would have thought that when everyone pitted for their second pit stop, I would have thought they all thought that this is going to be an 11-lap race. Because it should have been an 11-lap race. It was only by 4 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
We went over by 4 seconds, hence why we had the 12th lap. Here's Sam Buzan, though, top of the... No, he's not top of the club jersey. He won a race, obviously, last season. But here he is in 8th place. Steve Lavelli will be a little bit further behind. He should have enough to beat Greg Carr. This is for the win in the club standings.
Oh.
Here we are on the run to the line. Carr will draw alongside. No, he hasn't got the straight line speed. I don't know if iRacing simulate less downforce if you haven't got a boot or half your car, but it seemed to help him. And it is Steve Lavelli gets 9th place and wins the club race, and that's another race win for Lavelli, extending his club championship lead.
I'm making a public service announcement. If you want to come for interviews, you can come straight away. And the drivers have read my mind, Sam, because we already have someone ready for interviews.
Awesome. We've got 2 drivers ready for interviews. We'll have a chat though with Nicole Foggy.
I'll keep showing. I will keep showing the race, but yes, you can talk with the drivers.
Yes. Well done, Nicole. That was safe to say we haven't seen a winning margin like that ever before. We saw everyone else make a mistake. We had everyone else having issues. We barely saw you at all. You were just perfect.
Thanks. I think Johnny made a few mistakes anyway behind me. I mean, I suppose it was a pretty good run because I don't think I actually made any proper stupid mistakes. Even, you make one, you clip the grass and go a little bit sideways, and you lose like half a second or a second sometimes if it's dodgy and you don't get a good run out onto one of the back straights. So it was a good run anyway.
Did you have to do much practice around this circuit? I mean, does it just come naturally to you? Because, I mean, Johnny was saying how much you like this track, but how different is it driving a V8 Supercar around here compared to, say, a GT3?
It's a lot different. I mean, with the new V8s, there's a bit of similarity, as some people say, with the GT3s, how it feels, but you definitely have to be careful on the throttle out of a lot of the corners, and the brakes as well, just because of the bumps and the undulations and stuff, and hitting a curb can put you all over the place. So yeah, some similarities, but definitely got to be careful, especially once the tires get a bit worn on the third and fourth lap. Have to be definitely a bit careful, but it's fun anyway.
And with what it turned out to be 1 lap to go, we were very excited because we weren't sure whether there was going to be another lap. You guys, you XVR guys had a 1, 2, 3. Were you tempted on slowing down a little bit and ending it right there? It maybe would have meant that Warmingham got 3rd place, or did that not enter your mind?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. We were thinking that a bunch of people won't have gone for fuel for the extra lap. I mean, we kind of mentioned it at the start that if I got fast enough, good enough pace, then it would be pretty close, but could maybe make it. And then we realized on sort of lap, what would it been? I think it was the 3rd last lap, and then I had to really push to make it, and I think I made it by about a second or 2. So pretty lucky. It was a good lap anyway. I didn't make any mistakes really, so that helped a bit. But that was kind of the plan a little bit. Didn't think too much about it once I knew I could make it.
And of course, after this round, you're back up into 2nd place in the championship, I think just behind George McClay. Are you looking forward to the championship battle? I mean, is that something that you really look to in this championship? Because it looks as though it could be pretty tasty between you and George, maybe Johnny and Tony as well. Are you kind of just enjoying the races as they go by?
Definitely pretty close, and George has definitely got a lot of pace, and you saw at Suzuka, I think he started catching me towards the end, and then I made a mistake. Johnny got past, and then I made a mistake and hit him, so that didn't help. But yeah, obviously pretty close pace for sure. So looking forward to the battles, really. I mean, yeah, I care a bit about points. It's cool, winning and all that, but I prefer to have a good battle over, making a lot of points.
Awesome. Well done on today's results. And is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, the team XVR and just helping with setups. Although I mean, yes, we basically stuck with the same setup since we found something a few weeks ago. So, and then Simortal as well, and of course you guys and the guys who run the league as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Nicole, and best of luck in 2 weeks' time and for World GT as well.
Yes, thank you very much. Good to see you.
So that was Nicole Foggy, your winner today at the Nurburgring, and that is, I mean, that is pretty good timing. We are professionals. We do know what we're doing because I've timed that perfectly so that Tony Kleesman has crossed the line, and we can go through the final results, and then we'll go back to the some more interviews. So Nicole Foggy has won this race, 1 minute and 8 seconds clear of Johnny Brandon. Richard Warming has finished third. Plot twist. Hang on. Did you know this, Marco?
No, I didn't. And
He's
Tanaka
got a
has been
penalty.
has been penalized probably for too many incidents. That's my impression. Because
Unbelievable. I mean, rarely do we see so much action in a race after we've done an interview. I mean, this is proper late stuff. I mean, this is post-race penalties 4 hours afterwards type stuff. So Richard Warming finishes in third place. It's an XGR 123. It was never in doubt. Lewis Bibby in fourth, only 1.5 seconds behind. Tanaka gets a 40-second penalty then to drop down to fifth. Still ahead of George McClay. That's how much time McClay lost. He lost pretty much a minute between the penalty the penalty they got and then his extra pit stop in sixth. Jamie Wilson finishes in seventh. Then Sam Buzan. Steve Lavelli was top of the club drivers, and Greg Carr was rounding up top 10. Nikolai Bogotayev in 11th place. I mean, didn't seem like the most flattering performance from Nikolai, but I mean, great points. Really good from him. Wayne Sanderson in 11th. Sorry, in 12th. Then there's Tyler Newitt, Chris Jackson, Dominic Sori, Jamie McKnight, and Tony Klusman rounding out the drivers on the lead lap. 2 laps down was Josh Chin, and then more than 2 laps down was Anthony Woodward, Ole Christian Unberg, Peter Bingham, Justin Rebelle, Michael Frost, Lane O'Connor, Yasor Sebula, Jeffrey Collinson, and Andrew Hoffman. Just looking at the instance from the drivers. So Brandon only got 2. That's impressive. McClay only got 5, so he didn't get a penalty. You can throw that theory out. Get your tinfoil hats off. Because that one didn't happen. Hoffman got 15. Woodward got 24. I mean, did he drive on the tarmac? I don't know. Must have spent a long time off the circuit, and Tanaka got 19. So McClay didn't get a penalty. What happened to George McClay at that pit stop? Maybe we'll never know. Maybe it's better we never know. I don't know. Johnny Brandon, we are going to have a chat with now. In fact, Marco, did you want to have a chat with Johnny?
oh yes, why not? Let's have a chat with our second placed finisher, and it should be with us right
Good evening.
now. Yeah, hello Johnny.
Hello, evening.
So a good round for you finally. I mean, it was much needed clean race. A little bit of a fight with George first, and then with Richard Wormingham. In the end, it was
Yeah, not really fights, but
yeah.
yeah. I don't know what happened to George. I was quite surprised he went past me though. He kind of went past and then overshot the next corner, and I went back ahead, and then he passed me again. I was like, okay, I'll follow you. I'll save some fuel. I was quite surprised he wanted to go out in front, so I let him go, and then he seemed to pit early and disappeared. So I don't know what happened there. And the rest of it was just cruising, looking after. The second stop, we were a bit confused because we were trying to coach Foggy to push for the extra lap. We thought it'd catch a lot more people out behind because we knew how quick he was, and what an amazing run he did. And it's quite surprising that he didn't actually catch. I mean, Lewis Bibby had enough fuel, Victor had enough fuel, but I think George, Tony, most of the Simability guys had to pit again because they didn't think it'd go that far. So that it was all part of the plan from pretty much the start of the race. But the fact that he made it was amazing. He's so fast around here; it's ridiculous. So it wasn't worth trying to even keep up with him. It was like, okay, see you later. You go do that. I'll just cruise around here.
But going back to your race, and maybe this could be the. I mean, you've got that second place in um, Suzuka, but of course that came with a little bit of unfortunate circumstances. You think this result could really kickstart your season heading into Barber in a couple of weeks' time?
I'm not really. I'm not really thinking about the season anymore because it gets too stressful. So I'm just gonna enjoy it and drive. This was fun to drive the car. Wasn't the most exciting racing in the world, to be honest, but it's not that sort of track, is it? So yeah, we'll see what happens at the next race. And I think Foggy. It's gonna probably be between Foggy and George. I mean, I've crashed out the first 4 races. It's not a good way to start a season, and against people like that, you can't come back that far. That's a lot of points I've lost. Um, but we'll see what happens. A long way to go, but it's not looking likely. Um, so just try and enjoy it. It's fun driving the car, fun racing the car, as long as I don't get taken out. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm not thinking about championship at all anymore. I think it'll be between George and Nickel. Obviously, I want Nickel.
Thanks, Johnny, for stepping for an interview with us. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Just you guys for the broadcast. I'll have a look at it back. I'm sure it's great as usual. Everyone that runs the league, it's great. Everyone that takes part in the league, it's great to have some numbers turning up for a race like this. And XVR, all my teammates, Host 365, Simmortal, Inter Racing, Virtual Racing Association, everyone that helps us out. Yeah, that's about it. And Nickel Foggy for being amazing. But I will try and get him next time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Johnny. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers, guys.
Breaking news. You want to know what happened to George McClay?
Yeah?
What happened to George McClay was first pit stop got a speeding penalty coming out of pits and therefore had 3 laps to serve the stop go. Hence why he pitted after 3 laps. And that pretty much wrecked his race. So, and he was racing with Johnny, of course, coming out of the pits.
Yeah.
So he must have just got a little bit impatient with the pit limiter. And that negatively affected him. What could it have been if it weren't for that? Victor Tanaka is with us now. A driver who finished in 5th place. First, Victor, going towards the end of the race. When did you pick up those instants to take you over the 15 instant limit? Was it on the last lap or was it a little bit before that?
So the last lap was when we go in like 3 wide, battling for P3, between me, Worm, him, and Lewis. Yeah, I'm still protesting. I think I deserve P3 for everything that I did.
It was a fun race. I mean, you overtook a couple of drivers. I mean, many times. I think Jamie Wilson was it in the early stages. You overtook him like 3 times. I mean, half the overtakes on overall were done by you. I mean, it was it must have been, and on the Nordschleife as well. I mean, some corners that we don't associate with overtakes, and you were making it work.
Yeah, I'm just going for the Forever Forward award. So that's why I was letting him pass, so I can pass him again. I'm not sure if it counts, but
yeah.
No, just kidding. It's just like I would make a mistake and he would get by, and then he would make a mistake and I would get a run. But I believe most of them were on that little section that's pretty much flat out. But they're kind of it's a twisty bit, but it's flat out, so it's not that easy to take it side by side. But we made it work, and again it's just most of those were just little mistakes on the exits, and then I just got a better run and I got past him, and it was also the same the other way around. But yeah, for half of the race, we had a three-way battle there between me, Lewis, Jamie, which at the time was for P5. At the time, George didn't had his issue yet, and that was a lot of fun. And only really with a couple laps to go, I realized that Warmingham was slowing down. Apparently, he hit a wall on the last stop coming out of the pits, so he had a little bit of damage, and that's how we managed to catch him. And yeah, I was just looking forward, trying to be as fast as I could without getting off tracks. I think it's pretty silly that an hour and a half race we only have 15 incidents. So I got caught up at that. But at that point, I can't stop pushing. I'm going for that extra spot. So if it happens, it happens. And unfortunately, it did.
And did you expect I guess you did expect the 12th lap, because the XVR guys were expecting everyone else to be caught out, have to do an extra pit stop, and yet you managed to stay out. So when did you decide to fill up for that extra 12th lap?
So when I saw how fast Nicole was, I actually did the calculations with an 8-minute average lap time, which actually finished with 8 minutes and 10 seconds as an average. But with 8 minutes of lap time, you're looking at 11.25 laps. So like I had everything planned for 12 laps. But I halfway through the race, I realized it was going to be close. But what made it easy for me to figure it out was that Nicole was exactly a minute ahead of me when the pit stops started to happen on the last stop. So he was exactly a minute. So all I had to do is just look at the clock, and so like when he went into the pits for the last time, he was exactly a minute in front of me, and there was 24 minutes and a few seconds. So I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be 12. So I just went for 12. Even if it was shorter, like I knew that would be a problem, because then I would have put 20 liters too much, and that's a lot of time at a pit stop. But yeah, I was planning for 12.
Well, it works out very well in the end. Congratulations, Victor, on your 5th place today. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just everybody that works to organize the league. Um, you know, Racetech for sponsoring the league, and then also you guys for the broadcast, which you guys always do an amazing job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victor, and best of luck for Barber next time out.
Oh yeah, that's a fun track for sure, and hopefully Nicole won't be 10 seconds faster than everybody there.
Fingers crossed. Best of luck.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thank you.
So that rounds off another round of the championship, Marco. Was a very good Nordschleife round. I think sometimes in series, Nordschleife can be a bit of a dull round. Like I was saying earlier on, you can have half the judges crashing out early on. But I mean, the pack was closer on the run to the line than it was at any other point in the race. The bats just kept on going. It was superb.
It was very, very entertaining. I love this race, and this is a place that usually doesn't provide for some great racing. Yes, of course, granted, Nicole Foggy ran away with it, but I mean, we had fights all over the field. It was a great, great Nordschleife race, and I mean, it's going to be strange for these drivers because in 2 weeks' time we'll be at a completely different track, the layout, short layout A of Barber. So, and of course, it's going to be the super sprint round. So, completely different kind of racing, and that's why we love these championships. And we said it many times because it really puts these drivers on the spot for in different kinds of racing for with enduros, super sprints, and normal feature races. It's going to be great.
It is. I'm just looking at the short A course, and of course, rather than having the left-handed hairpin down the hill, you instead go through that cut through. So you go left and then onto the right, and then you have the final chicane, and of course that long final corner. So 1.45 miles, 2.33 kilometers compared to 24.43 kilometers today. So about a tenth in length, about 9% of the length of this circuit. So it should be a really good one. We do recommend watching that one. As Marco said, will be the super sprints for that round of the championship. Of course, elsewhere on Apex Racing TV tomorrow, we have got, well, later on, sorry, we've got the Obscure Car Challenge on Apex Racing TV. So we'll have the DP, the old DP, the Riley, along with like GT1s and a few other classes as well. It should be really good fun around the Monza combined layout. That's the mega, I think that's the no chicanes layout plus the oval. So certainly you need to watch that. That's going to be absolutely mega. And of course, as Michael was saying earlier on, the Formula 3.5 Championship will be on the iRacing Esports Network, broadcasted by us. And tomorrow we've got the Aussie Mixed and Fixed series, which I might be commentating on. Hopefully I won't be. Hopefully Jonathan Simon will be all right for that one. But I am back up for that. That will be on in the morning for us Europeans on the iRacing Esports Network once again. Then we'll have the Sim Racers World Endurance Series on Apex Racing TV. That will be from 13 GMT for approximately 5.5 hours. And then we'll have the first round of the Apex Racing League GT Challenge, GT Championship in the evening as well. And of course, we've got World GT, we've got Sim Racers World on the iRacing Esports Network. We've got plenty of other series as well on Apex Racing TV as well. So subscribe to both, and then you can and put on the bell thing, and you'll get notifications, and you can check out all our broadcasts. Watch it just 24/7. If you miss one, catch up on it. Why not? It's very good investment of your time. But I certainly hope that you have enjoyed this broadcast. If you have, please leave a like on it. And of course, do check out our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and all that other stuff. Hopefully, you'll join us back for the fourth meeting of the Racetech V8 Supercar Series in 2 weeks' time. But for now, from me and from Marco, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.